This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
Good evening, it's live, it's loud, and it's late show from London with your host, Toby Doncaster. Tonight, I talk about bringing out the best in people, how we can do this with staff, with learners, with anybody you come into contact with.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org, or to join in the conversation, download the Podbean app and search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TTRadio. Tune in, talk it out with Teachers Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Late Show with Toby Doncaster. You're with me, your host, Toby Doncaster, and I'm wishing you a really fabulous new year. I hope you had a good one. I know I did. And I'm with the amazing Joe Germani. Joe, how are you?
I am fine, Toby. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're loud and clear. So welcome to Teacher Talk
Good.
Radio. And you are a star in the making, I've got to say. 20 years in further education. You know, you started off as an English and IT teacher, if I'm not wrong, as well as a teaching and
Yes.
learning coach. Yeah. And
Yeah, absolutely.
you also worked in offender learning as an advanced practitioner. Moving on, you then took on a quality
Yeah.
improvement role with West London College, where we met. And I have to say, you made a significant impact on me. And
Thank you very much.
you really did. And I'm going to describe what you did. And really what I want to know is your secret ingredient. How did you manage to do that? Because when we met, I was a GCSE English teacher. I had interest in education technology, and I was happy to just potter along, going into my classes and teaching my the learners that I got into contact with. And you changed all of that. You asked me to produce a pathway to help teachers because we were in the lockdown period, and it just went crazy from there. You nominated me as a teacher learning coach. I did a coaching course. I became coaching certified, and just today, I delivered CPD to a room full of teachers on entry and exit strategies, and I'm like, gosh, I've come such a long way. So
Of course you
all
have.
credit to you. Yeah, all credit to you,
Not
though.
at all. Not at all. Not at all, Toby. Not at all. I mean, for me, I think what is really important is just to get to know the people around you, find out where the rising stars are, hone in on them, and get them to do something first that they feel comfortable with. But I think with you, you have excellent. You had excellent skills. You had excellent skills in EdTech and e-learning, and I definitely needed those skills to support our teachers throughout the lockdown. So I approached you, and you're like, "No, I don't want to do that." But the thing is, we put in some scaffolds for you. So, like you do with your learners, where you say, "Right, okay, we're going to do this. Let's make a plan. Let's give you a timeline. Let's do one bit at a time. Get it together. Let's see how it comes out." And then you were away. You just did it, and you were amazing. And I think just giving that little bit of scaffolding in the instruction, not just saying, right, I need to do that, go away, do it, come back, but just supporting you in that journey I think that makes all the difference. And I've noticed that with all the teams that I've supported since then, you can't just let them go. You've got to help them, give them the confidence, give them the tools, especially on that first big project. Once they've done that first big project, they don't need you anymore because the confidence is there. They know that they've got the skills, and then they know what to do. And you can just sit back and enjoy.
Sit back and enjoy. Do you know what? I mean, I'm still a full-time teacher as well. How do you think that could be done with students, and particularly, in further education? A lot of the students that come through our doors don't have the confidence. They might have had learning failure in secondary education. I'm thinking of the traditional sort of 16 to 19-year-old. I mean, do you agree with me that a lot of them have had a sort of a haphazard learning journey, and we could, I don't know, I think that in further education sometimes we're almost the last resort. We're there to help, but they've got to sort of help themselves. So how do you apply um, encouragement magic to help them succeed?
I mean, the key thing is just get to know them. Get to
Mm,
know them, make them feel comfortable, but set high expectations. You've got to have high expectations of them, and then kind of, I don't know, just encourage them, make them feel that you believe in them and that they can do it. And 9 times out of 10, they will respond in kind. So if you think they're going to be excellent, you demonstrate that in terms of how you talk to them, how you encourage them, then they will work with you. I mean, in my teaching career, I was known as the teacher that would have the lowest level learners. There's the
mm,
um, the learners that nobody else wanted to teach. But I loved them. I absolutely loved them. Give me a room full of really well-behaved students, and I didn't quite know what to do with them. But give me a room full of challenging students, and I just absolutely loved it because you get the most pleasure out of watching someone come in on the first day. They just slump in the chair. They're not listening to you, not
mm,
engaged,
mm,
and then by week 6, they're kind of eating out of your hand because you kind of get to know them, let them know you care about them, and they will come along on the journey with
mm,
you.
mm, mm. So, I mean, what I found, teaching English, is that I'd say to them really early on, I say, I'd like to see you write something. My forte was always creative writing, so I might show them a spooky house in a forest, say, and I say, look, I want you to, write a story about this house. How did you come upon this house? What were you doing in the forest in the first place? And you can write it in the first person or you can write another character, and I'd like to see what you come up with. And I found that one of the keys was, once they finished the writing, I would have to give them immediate feedback. And it wasn't,
Yeah,
wow, that's great. It was more, this is what I liked about what you've written here. You've been really descriptive here. You've used adjectives here. You've used, language devices here. I did not expect that ending. Wow, what a twist. Being genuine about what you liked about it
yeah,
rather than the praise. I don't know
yeah.
how to
I mean,
explain
young
it.
people, young people can see through false praise very, very quickly. They're not interested in it. What they want to know
Yeah.
is what they did well, and how they can fix it if they need to fix it. Praise effort by all means, but don't just go around saying, wow, that's amazing. Wow, you did it. Wow, you picked up the pen. Wow, you're amazing. None of that
You
works.
I
um,
like that phrase. You picked up a pen. Yeah.
Picked up a pen, you wrote a sentence. So I think your approach in terms of really getting into what they've done and unpicking it with them, that's going to have much more value. I mean, my subjects. I mean, I did teach functional skills English, but my main subject was IT, so it's very
Mm,
practical. So you're building skills. So they're coming in with absolutely no skills, and then you're kind of helping them, giving them building blocks to the point where they are creating, their own spreadsheets, they're creating diagrams, they're creating good things on the computer that they would never be able to do, and then they're kind of develops their independence, and you ask them to do one thing and they've added 10 other things that they didn't need to add in there, which is just showing how keen they are to move forward. But I would normally start with something fun, like pretty much like you. So in the beginning, I mean, if you've got very low level students, you just want them to get familiar with the software, with kind of moving the mouse, moving things around, finding things. So I would get them to make vector cartoons.
Okay.
So, and depending on how interesting, what they were into, so you get some that would make some crazy anime cartoons, and all it would be was a PowerPoint, some shapes, and that's it. And kind of using the tools hide and merge and hiding lines and colours, and they would come up with the most amazing things. And we would create a competition across all the levels, and they would be printed out and put on all the hallways, and then all the other students would vote on their favourite character, and that would just get them into it, get them comfortable using the software, using the mouse, but also create that competition element, a bit of fun in the beginning. And once you've got them kind of engaged, then you start with the kind of, okay, so let's look at formulas. Do something a bit more boring.
Let's do the boring stuff now.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking of a lesson I had today. So, I was trying to explain a concept to the class, and to my surprise, nobody got the concept. And I thought, hold on, we've just done this in December, and you've forgotten everything that I've taught you. Well, when I say everything, I've taught you this, and it's really crucial that you put it in your writing. You're able to analyze it in your reading, and you don't get the plot at all. I was like, oh no, what do I do? Okay, back to the basics again. Repeat the session again, and then repeat about 4 times. I want to see you use language devices in your writing. You must use language devices in your writing. Do you remember the 8 language devices that we just went through? And
yeah, but it is about
half an hour ago.
repetition.
Yeah,
It's especially after a break.
Yeah, but they did it. And then I was able to go, all right, so you've managed to include 3 language devices in 2 pages of writing, and I keep pointing out that, when we started this in September, you produced 2 paragraphs. So you've gone from half a page to 2 pages. That is quite something. However, there's always that however that I come up with, and I say, you've missed out quite a lot of punctuation. And I show them, what they get marked on, and I say, we really need to consider this, and we need to put in, more punctuation. I will cover this in the next lesson. So it's almost, they can see a continuation of skill development. So
actually, it reminds me of something I did this week. So it wasn't actually last week. We had our Ofsted in my current place of employment, and during the Ofsted, I was down to deliver some CPD to the team, which was really annoying because then Ofsted wanted to come and see it. Great. But we were talking about strategies for developing higher level learners, because all of our courses are level 3 and above, and it's just about kind of building on the strategies and apprenticeships that will engage those learners. And we did a couple of techniques in the CPD session which were really good, using group strategies, using roles, to kind of engage and create a bit of stretch and challenge. And then yesterday, one of the teachers who was in the session, she came running in, bounding in. She was like a 19-year-old learner, and she was so excited. She went, I did that thing. I did that group class with my guys, and they loved it. And they've decided they're going to use it in their team meetings. And we talked about how we can adapt it. And oh my God, it was so fantastic. And then one of them wanted something else, so we did the other technique, and that worked. And then she wrote this whole reflective piece that we've put on our website, which is our internal CPD site for the staff. And it was just absolutely wonderful to see her listen, enjoy the session, then go away and practice it, and just the joy of kind of how well it went, and being able to do it. And now she's looking for more strategies that she could use, because she obviously used the ones that I showed her. So now she's going and doing her own research to look for more. She needs more tools for that toolkit. But it was really exciting to
Brilliant.
see.
So, you mentioned right at the beginning, set the big project. So really, we've gone from set the big project and scaffold people to do it on their own
Yeah.
and build up their confidence, to being very explicit about what they have to do, and
Yeah. And
watching
set
them grow.
timelines. Yeah.
Yeah, but also what you've just done with that colleague of yours is, you've not you she has sort of fired herself up to
Yeah.
find out more for herself, and then put
Yeah.
that into her teaching
Amazing.
practice. Yes, that
Yeah.
that is. And
Yeah.
I'm
Because
going
I
to bring
mean,
it right back again. Yeah, how do I
oh, go on
do
then. Go
that?
on then.
How do I do that with learners? So because I feel that I'm constantly, you know constantly prodding them. It's like, okay, you've done this, now do this, now do this. What's the you know how do I encourage them to start seeking things out for themselves?
Well, this is about talking to them about their own SMART goals, isn't it? So this is about finding out what they are interested in, finding out what they need to do, talking to them about how they might do that, and then saying, okay, so what steps are you going to take? Let's look at that. Let's put in an action for you. You've decided you want to do more, I don't know, creative writing. I'm going to use your example. Um,
Yes.
but you've not told me how. What does that look like? When are you going to start that? How many pieces are you going to write? What's your topic going to be? Really pin it down with them, and
Mm.
then put it into some sort of small milestone target, and go, okay, let's try that then. Go away and see how you get on, and come back. And once they start hitting the mini milestones, they'll eventually go off and do it without you. Hopefully, that's the plan. You won't win them all, but you'll win some.
No. Yeah.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Meet USA Study, your one-stop platform for guiding students through their college application journey. Access up-to-date resources on universities, programs, scholarships, and application requirements, all in one place. Get easy-to-access tools, personalised timelines, expert tips, application templates, and exclusive webinars with admissions officers to help your student stand out. Visit usastudy.co.uk or call Phil at 0800 612 8271, because every student deserves the opportunity to shine with USA Study.
Hey education changemakers, ready for something special? It's Bet Show's 40th anniversary and we're throwing a free celebration just for you. Join us at London Excel from January 22nd to 24th to connect, learn and be inspired. Picture this, 300 plus speakers who truly get it, 600 cutting-edge edtech companies, and all the fresh ideas you need to make 2025 your best year yet. So why wait? Head to uk.betshow.com, grab your free ticket and come celebrate with your peers. Because this is for you. See you at Bet.
So, we've been talking with Joe Germani about setting mini targets for students so that they can improve on their work, setting projects for teachers so that they can build up their confidence, and encouraging reflection so that so that teachers as well as learners can think of milestones that they might want to achieve and how they can develop even further. So what about students and teachers really who don't want to engage in the process. What do you do to help them along?
I mean, it's very important that you speak to them on a one-to-one basis, really, and
Mm,
try and get under the skin of what's going on with that learner, because there'll be a number of barriers that that learner might have that you're not aware of in a classroom setting. So you need to speak to them. You need to kind of try and get them to explain to you what the problem is.
mm, mm.
9 times out of 10, they'll be able to tell you, and then you'll be able to work out which strategy you're going to use to kind of counteract that. So, I mean, I think don't just assume that they don't want to do it, because it
Mm.
might not be the case. There might be a million reasons why they're not engaging, or don't seem to be performing, and it's your job really to get under the skin of that and find out what's going on and what can you do about it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, particularly this year, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've become older and wiser and, slightly more mature and more approachable. But I've had quite a number of learners come to me and say, do you know what? I'm facing these sort of issues at home. This is
Yeah,
this is what's happening with my family. You know, um, we're in Ealing, and we've got students coming from Ladbroke Grove to come and study, and
yeah,
you know, there's traveling problems. There's the issue of coming, and then they're late. They don't want to come into the class because they don't want to be challenged about being late. They don't want to talk
yeah,
about it.
yeah. They're
There's
embarrassed.
yeah, you know,
Yeah,
and I find
and it's your
I
job
don't
to make them
know.
feel comfortable.
Yes. So apart from you know what? I mean, what I'm picking up from you is that sort of, okay, well, I'm going to make you feel comfortable. However, we still need to get the job done, so to speak.
Yeah,
We still
yeah,
have to focus on the fact that this isn't a social club. This is a learning environment, and this is what I do anyway. I remind them. I say, look, we're we're treating this as a working environment as well. Think of it as a workplace.
yeah,
Um, you might be traveling all the way across London to get to work, and you still need to get to the job on time, regardless of the problems that you have with the train or the tube or the buses and so on.
yeah.
Um,
No, I agree.
you still have to be there for the job, otherwise you won't have a job, and it's darn difficult finding a new one. What sort of issues do you have thinking about work now? What sort of issues do you have with apprentices? Because I'm not terribly familiar with apprentices. They have to go to work and also study. Are they enthusiastic about their studies?
Yeah.
Oh,
Not always.
well, that was not always.
So,
No.
I mean, I'll talk about my current. So currently, I work for an employer provider, and it's a brand new academy. We literally just built it from the ground up a year ago, and the company that we're in, historically, all of the training and development was kind of externally sourced. They would say they wanted to do a course, they were sent off to do it. They might do it in a couple of days, couple of weeks, and then come back. So we're looking at the apprenticeship first approach. So if you know about apprenticeships, you know they're kind of long, kind of
Mm,
15 to
mm,
18 months, depending on what you're doing. It could be longer than that. And you have to take some time away from your workplace in order to attend the sessions, because it has to be done during work time.
mm,
So we've had some struggles in terms of the learners, the initial cohort of learners. They were really kind of struggling to get to grips with finding that balance of making sure they get that off the job time, working with their employers so that they can get kind of on the job activities as well as off the job, and then kind of struggling with kind of being a learner throughout the learning week, because it's not just kind of during your off the job time or in your session time.
Mm,
As an
mm,
apprentice, you're constantly learning all the time, so there was a real struggle in terms of how to do that, how to get that right. And so we did a lot of work with the line managers, a lot of
mm,
training, support, give them really strong induction, not just the learners, to make sure that the line managers have the capacity to support them in the workplace. So there's not that kind of struggle of, I need this time, but my line manager won't give it to me. So we've done a lot of work with line managers, and we've done a lot of work with the learners on things like soft skills like time management and resilience, and kind of helping them kind of make that change from just working to being a working learner. And it has been a struggle, but we've really started to turn the corner. But it has been around clarity of information up front, so making sure that the kind of onboarding process really informs them really well in terms of what it is they're going to expect to do. And we've used the learners to kind of inform that. So obviously we created the process at the beginning, and it was working for some but not for others. So we asked the learners, we did learner forums, and we said, what is it that you need at the beginning of your program that will help
mm.
equip you to be more ready to deal with kind of what's coming. And we've got lots of lovely feedback. And in something so simple as, I'd really like to have seen what my calendar might look like.
Right. Yeah.
Really effective. I mean, I would have even thought of that. And I was like, okay. So we put in a range of different calendar options, depending on whether you're doing an apprenticeship without functional skills, or whether you're doing an apprenticeship with functional skills, what your calendar will look
Mm,
like
mm,
at progress review time, what your calendar might look like as you're going through Gateway. And it was really effective. It was really helpful.
mm, mm.
So I think, it goes back to, you haven't got all the answers. Your learners have the answers for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about real strong communication. I mean, even when I was teaching, I used to show them the scheme of learning and say, right, for the next 6 weeks, this is what we've got to cover. How do you want to
Mm,
do it? How do you want to do it? What do you
mm,
want to do
mm,
first? And
mm,
they would plan it out with me, like what they want to cover. And then they knew what was coming, because they had a hand in designing the sequence. And it engaged them more because they'd chosen it. And it's the same with the apprentices. Like, we are working with the line managers and the learners to say, okay, this is the plan, but what sequence
mm,
do you want it in?
mm, mm,
So
mm,
it's really about getting their input and actioning it. So if they give you a bit of advice and you don't action it or do anything with it, they're going to be disengaged. They won't give you any more. And
mm, mm.
you've lost them then. But if they give you something, it's not enough to just do a "you said we did" poster and stick it on the wall. You've really you've really got to show them that you listened, and this is what you've done as a result of what they gave you, and that you're grateful. That was really, really helpful. Thank you very much. And that will really start to kind of bring them round to being engaged in the curriculum.
So really, it sounds like you almost passed ownership of the course over to the learner, so that they feel that they're in control of the entire process, you know. Um, and I liked what you said about soft skills, things like resilience, timekeeping, you know.
Yeah, super
Um,
important.
yeah, well, yeah, but it's also things like, managing a calendar,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, I mean, these are adults, so we didn't expect that to be an issue, and we were really surprised about how much they needed that. So we taught them, how to plan out your calendar, how to make sure that you're not missing things, how to just differentiate between a Teams call and a face-to-face, and where the locations will be, and it was
mm,
really,
mm.
really good.
I must confess, I'm still trying to find out myself how to maintain a calendar. I, at one stage, I had a physical calendar, like a notebook that I would write
Yeah.
things in, and a phone, you know, and it was just like, this isn't working. I just have to get used to, fishing my phone out and saying, right, I will see you next Thursday at 2 o'clock. Here is the invite. I'm sending it to you right now.
Absolutely.
And then once it becomes a habit, it's almost, I'm able to sort of block my time out, so I know exactly what I'm doing at any given time,
Yeah.
and it's helping me. Yeah,
I mean, and also what I've found is really helpful is like encouraging that peer-to-peer communication.
yeah.
So we've set up kind of Teams chats. The learners have set up their own team chats. So they kind of talk about what's coming up, where they've got to be. They hold each other accountable, which is
Mm,
really good. And they also talk about, what they've learned and what they're doing and sharing experiences. And that is really, really helpful. And I found the same in working with teaching teams. It's not enough for you to have your team and give them, what you think is all the knowledge that they need to be amazing. I've
mm.
always encouraged them to set up their own groups, talk amongst yourself, like decide it yourselves and then come back to me. And that is, build relationships outside of you and that structure. And that's been really, really helpful.
So we've looked at learners, we've looked at apprentices, thinking about how they engage with the workplace and build up their sort of soft skills as well as their study skills, as well as their work skills. And now to teachers. Do you find that the teachers that you work with embrace CPD? This idea of continuous sort of progression, or do they sort of say, "Look, do you know what? I've been teaching for 25 years. I know the ropes. Just leave me alone. Let me get on with my job."
I mean, I won't say that that's never happened. And I do think it depends on the forum. I mean, I
Yeah.
am really fortunate at the moment to have a very small team. And we've literally pitched the whole academy as it's teaching, learning, development first before anything
Mm,
else.
mm, mm, mm.
And apprenticeship skills trainers or whatever, coaches or whatever you call them in your organisation, I always find that they get left out.
Mm,
So they're not included in kind of coaching. They're not included in CPD. They don't have their own CPD. They don't look at teaching and learning in the same way as other teachers do.
mm.
They've got massive caseloads and you don't have time. It's literally something that they don't engage with. So I've got skills trainers in my team who have been teaching for years, absolute years.
Mm,
And this is the first time they've been doing, acting research projects. They've been looking at research. They've been watching videos. They've been trialing things. They've been writing. We have a team page where they write reflective blogs and to each other, that each other can read.
mm,
And in the
mm.
CPD, it's been absolutely amazing because in every single CPD session, I try to give them 2 or 3 strategies that they can go away and use or not, depending on what they feel is useful for them.
Sure.
And they just find it really, really useful. So I'm really lucky. My current people are loving it, and I love supporting them. I've worked in big colleges, as you know,
Yeah.
and I've always found this that you have a kind of difference between the big whole college conference scenario to the kind of smaller teach meet sessions that you have kind of in year. And I
Mm,
always
mm.
find that the teach meets that you run in year, you normally have smaller cohorts, and they come in because they're really interested in the topic that's been advertised. And I usually find that those sessions are really, really rewarding. I think on a bigger scale, you won't get everybody feeling the same way, but if you can make it as enjoyable and practical, without kind of trying to teach people to suck eggs, I think's the phrase, you
Sure.
usually win people over and they feel like it's valuable to them. But yeah, you won't. It's a struggle for some.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Don't miss out. Level up your professional development today and visit johncattbookshop.com to explore the full range of titles. Use the code JCTTR2425 for 20% off your order. Happy reading.
Meet USA Study, your one-stop platform for guiding students through their college application journey. Access up-to-date resources on universities, programs, scholarships, and application requirements, all in one place. Get easy-to-access tools, personalised timelines, expert tips, application templates, and exclusive webinars with admissions officers to help your student stand out. Visit usastudy.co.uk or call Phil at 0800 612 8271 because every student deserves the opportunity to shine with USA Study.
Hey education changemakers, ready for something special? It's Bet Show's 40th anniversary and we're throwing a free celebration just for you. Join us at London Excel from January 22nd to 24th to connect, learn and be inspired. Picture this, 300 plus speakers who truly get it, 600 cutting-edge edtech companies and all the fresh ideas you need to make 2025 your best year yet. So why wait? Head to uk.betshow.com, grab your free ticket and come celebrate with your peers. Because this is for you. See you at Bet.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
Schools Week reports on the impact government's decision to cut the Latin Excellence programme heads say will have on the poorest pupils. According to the article, many heads believe that the scheme has helped put state school pupils on an equal competitive footing for when they go to sixth form and university, and that the decision to cut it is disappointing. The LEP was created in 2021 to broaden access to Latin under then Education Secretary Gavin Williamson, after a 2020 British Council survey found that just 2.7% of state schools offered the subject compared with 49% of private schools. The decision to axe the scheme was made clear to schools just before Christmas, with the programme set to end in March. Head teachers have said that the mid-year withdrawal is particularly challenging, as schools may not be able to continue the subject until the end of the academic year due to funding squeezes. The response from heads follows comments made in December by high-profile historians and classicists, such as Tom Holland and Mary Beard. A Department for Education spokesperson said that the Independent Curriculum and Assessment Review will make sure all pupils benefit from a curriculum that delivers excellence. The BBC covers news that England's largest education union is voting on whether to accept or reject the government's pay offer of 2.8%. If the offer is turned down, the union will debate at its conference in April whether to hold a ballot for industrial action. The NEU has called the pay recommendation extremely disappointing. A Department for Education spokesperson called the union's response an extraordinary decision. NEU General Secretary Daniel Kebede said that the unfunded proposal was an insult to the profession and that it would lead to cuts to staff or resources or both. The ballot will open on March the 1st and will run until mid-April. The School Teachers Review Body, an independent group for teachers' pay, will recommend a formal pay offer later this year. In a separate dispute, tens of thousands of students in sixth form colleges across England were disrupted by strike action in the last week, as 2,000 NEU members staged a 3-day strike over pay. The September pay rise did not include teachers at sixth form colleges, as the Department for Education says they are responsible for setting their own pay. In Northern Ireland, some schools are to provide magnetic pouches to pupils so mobile phones can be stored during the school day. BBC Northern Ireland features comments by school leaders on the plan, which it is hoped will help pupils reduce the temptation to access devices during the day. Pupils have also responded to the scheme, with many saying positive things whilst acknowledging the challenges they may face. The plan was first proposed by Education Minister Paul Givan, but initially faced criticism over cost and issues around pupils' rights. Finally, as the cold snap begins to wane and forecasters start to talk about warmer temperatures on the coming days, many news outlets have covered the impact of the decision to close schools that can have on head teachers. Many have taken to social media to explain how the decision to close, or not, has affected them, with some describing it as awful and really stressful. Schools across the UK have faced challenges in returning after the Christmas break due to the weather, with some being affected by snow and ice, some by heating issues, or, after a thaw, even flooding. One head teacher told BBC Radio that as schools have become less localised, problems have increased. We used to be able to walk to school, but now both staff and children can travel longer distances to come to school. Another head talked of the difficulty in arranging the curriculum to suit online learning for a period of time, despite experiences of this during the pandemic. This has been your Teachers Talk Radio News with Jo Fox.
And we're back. I'm talking to Jojo Marnie. We've been discussing how to bring out the best in people, whether they're teachers, learners, we haven't mentioned management, and I think we won't at the moment because that's way out of my pay grade. But I'm really interested. I'm just listening to the news just now. What is your take on mobile phone technology? Should it be used in the classroom, Jo? What do you think?
I mean, I do think there is definitely a place for mobile phones, especially with FE learners, 16 to 18s and adults. However, there is a classroom management issue that comes along with that, especially for your younger learners. So I suppose it's about having your kind of classroom rules and expectations of respect for each other in place first before you kind of introduce the use of mobile phones. I think in the first couple of weeks you might want to kind of just set those boundaries first before you introduce them. But yeah, I definitely think they're worthwhile. Saying that, if you're in a classroom with computers, for example, and they can access the technology, EdTech tools, or whatever it is you're using via the computers in the room, then not necessarily needed. Mobile phones won't be needed, but a lot of classrooms don't have them. A lot of classrooms don't have computer access. So in ESOL classes, for example, I've seen excellent ESOL classes where all of the learners have used their mobile phones to access word wall and other technologies, which has been, enhanced the learning. But yeah, there's a balance to be had, isn't there?
Do you know what? And I mean, it's been very strange because I set the same boundaries in all the lessons that I teach, all the classes that I teach, and I'll have, some classes. No, they won't bring them out. They will bring them out actually to charge them, and I'm sort of going, oh yeah, go on then. You can charge them because I can never tell. If there's a 10-minute sort of gap at the end of the lesson, I might say, okay, come on, we're going to do a vocabulary check using an EdTech platform or something like that. Get your phone out. Oh, so I haven't got any charge. Or we sort of fall flat on our faces. But and then there's other classes where the learners literally come in, sit down, get their phone out, and that's it. They're scrolling away, and I'm like, come on, put it away. They literally put it in their pocket, and I turn my back, and the phone comes back out again. And I was like, gosh, I can understand the temptation. I can understand the draw that mobile phones has. But gosh, people are seriously addicted to these things.
Yeah, but I think it's not enough to be consistent in your own classroom, especially in FE. So if you've got someone on a BTEC class, they're going to be in 6 different teachers' classrooms in 1 week. So you're going to have to make sure that the team are on the same page and they're all setting the same boundaries and guidelines. Otherwise, if they can get away with it in one class, for example, because one teacher's not as strict, and then they come into your class and they're going to feel that they can do the same. So I think it's about, as a team, deciding what your approach is going to be to use the mobile phones, and making sure that you as a team consistently drive that message. If one of your teachers in that team doesn't follow that message, it's not gonna work.
No, I agree, and we've got some callers in, and I'm interested to see what your point of view is about using mobile phones in the class. Can you use them effectively? But also, is ed tech the way forward? And we've got Gideon would like to call in, so I'm just going to invite her in. Hi there, Gideon. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm just curious because you say you're from Ghana but currently in Sweden. Do you use your mobile phone in the classroom?
No, not actually. When I was in Ghana, I can say in Ghana because I've lived in Ghana for so many years and I studied in
Sure,
Ghana.
sure.
So in Ghana, I'll say it is not advisable. And
Uh-huh, sure.
even if I'm the president or even if I'm in charge of the education, let's say the education minister, I will never advise to do that because
Uh-huh, sure.
it distracts a lot. Using
Mm.
mobile phone, it distracts a lot. In Africa, when
Mm.
some people have phones, they
Mm-hmm.
have these videos, pictures, Instagram, social media. So immediately they put their data on, then
Mm.
those things start to pop up. Most of them, they don't really concentrate on what the teacher or the lecturer is telling them. Instead,
Mm.
they just focus on those social medias, maybe
Yeah, so they
sending.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's for me, it's not, but I don't know in Europe or in America.
Well, I
Yeah,
think it's the same. It is the same issue,
yeah,
when people when learners are in a classroom, they're still hooked on their social media feeds. They still want to see what's going on. They might have specific. I've actually thought about this, and it's just occurred to me. They might have specific interests which could well be utilized in the classroom. So, for example, football, for example, especially when I'm teaching. So I've got a classroom full of young men. We could actually bring out. Okay, let's talk about football. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that based on what they're doing on their phones. But how long have you been in Sweden, if I can ask?
I've been in Sweden for 6 months.
6 months. And are you studying in a college or school at the moment?
Um, Not it's an internship program. I'm an agricultural student.
Oh, wonderful.
So yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I completed my bachelor in Ghana, and then I had
Hmm.
this opportunity to come to Sweden for an internship. It's a 1 year program.
Fantastic. How amazing is that?
But
I
then I'm
know.
planning. I'm just planning to have my master's degree in
Uh-huh.
Sweden, maybe after the internship.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is impressive. So really, mobile phone use might not be a problem in your classroom at the moment, I take it.
Here, it's we often go to the classroom. It's
Uh-huh.
it's it's like a practical internship, not like academic.
Ah,
Yeah,
ah,
it's like a
ah.
practical internship on
Okay.
the. Oh yeah.
Do you know what? I've just thought of a connection with mobile phones. This is an issue that I actually have in my class, which is the use of artificial intelligence when people are working. What happens is that I set a task for my students, and I say, "Do not use artificial intelligence, whatever you do." And they've got their phones out under the table, trying to copy out work frantically. you know it's quite an issue going on at the moment. Gideon, Gideon and Joanne, do you find this a problem at all?
Uh, in some way,
in some way.
in some in some way, I would say it's not a problem. It all depends if the student is maybe getting the understanding or the knowledge of what you are teaching.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah,
So,
I think,
so you're
yeah, if
saying, so you're saying that if my teaching is any good, they won't use artificial intelligence to help with their assignments.
no, I mean, not that way, but
They might use it to help them understand
let's
what you're
let's
saying.
let's
Ah, okay.
yes, it's like let's say I'm in Ghana and I'm given an assignment,
Mm-hmm.
but then I really understand what the teacher taught me, and then if I understand and maybe I used artificial intelligence to do the assignment, maybe have I just want to have my answers to be I don't I just want my answers to be more good. I don't know
Concise.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
whether I'm right or not. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes, but if I understand, I really understand it, and I
Mm,
know what
mm.
I'm doing, I think no problem with it. But some of them they don't even understand what they are writing.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yes,
Um,
that will be the issue.
what tends to happen with me is that I set a task for my students to write about something, and somebody will turn up with a piece of writing that is perfect. It's superb. You
Hmm.
can't fault it. And I'm like, okay, you didn't write this yourself because I saw your writing last week and it really wasn't as good as this. And and I say, did you use artificial intelligence here? No, 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 not at all.
You know,
No, no, no. Come
let
on.
me let me let me chip in this. It's like I remember when I was in the university,
Hmm.
in your final year, we always have this thesis work. We write a thesis,
Hmm. Yeah,
like a
sure.
project work. Yes. So we find most of the students using artificial intelligence to do all
Yeah,
their
sure.
works. So
Yeah.
when it's time for them to maybe come and present, we do a
Mm.
presentation.
Yeah.
They find themselves very wanting. They don't understand the
Yeah.
whole thesis. Do you understand?
Definitely.
They don't understand the whole thesis. So that is where the problem comes. But let's say when you use artificial intelligence to do your work, and then you understand everything, you can explain everything, you know everything. That is not bad.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yes,
suppose
but
so. Yeah, I can
yeah.
see. I can see your rationale there. I can see. I can see. The direction in which you're thinking. So, it's if it helps you understand, it's not a bad thing.
Good.
Yeah, Gideon, thank you so much for your ideas.
You're
I love
welcome.
it. I love it. So, what's happening next in your journey then? So, you're going to hopefully go for a master's in Sweden. How's your Swedish coming along?
Sweden is very nice country, but then
Yeah.
it's very cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet. Gosh. You
It's
know.
freaking cold.
Yeah. And do they give you like Swedish lessons in the university? Do you have to learn to speak in Swedish as well?
Uh, Now it's only
Mm,
few people who speak Swedish. Where I
mm,
find myself on the field,
hmm.
some of them are Swedish guys, but all of us we speak English.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, and then we have some guys also from Central Asia, from Kyrgyzstan. They're
Uh-huh.
also here. For them, their English is not much good, but they at least they try. But all of us, the means of communication here is English. And then
I see.
among the Swedish guys, they communicate in Swedish, but
Hmm.
generally we do use English.
So, I mean, you sound like a very sort of motivated young person. Um, how what motivates you to? I mean, to travel all the way from Ghana all the way to Sweden to do an internship. You know, who did somebody encourage you to do this, or was this self motivated?
um, ha, I I have a goal of becoming a lecturer.
Fantastic.
Wow. Wow.
So I just want to improve myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Having an internship in Europe is one of the ways at least you can get some experience, international experience, and be exposed to a lot of things.
Yeah, that's
So
great. Can I ask, did someone inspire you? Who inspired you to want to be a lecturer? Did you have a great experience with one of your own lecturers?
um, uh, I how do I say? I have it in myself that I want to teach.
Great.
Ah, right.
Yeah, I love to teach, and I talk a lot. So I decided that no, instead of talking plenty without making any sense, I'll just switch it to teach.
Mm,
Fantastic.
mm,
Teaching
mm.
is like talking. So
Well,
then
I'm
I'll
sure you'll
just
be
become
fantastic.
a
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
yeah.
You know.
Though the program is very expensive, but
Mm,
I was like, no, I have to come because I need this experience. And maybe when I come here also, I will be able to have some connections, have some opportunities, and maybe further my educations, have some
Absolutely.
international experience instead of maybe staying in Ghana. Yes.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
that
What an
was my motive.
inspiration. What an inspiration you
definitely.
are.
Yes, you are, definitely. Um, Gideon, I've got one final question. If
Mhm.
you said you wanted to become a lecturer.
Yes.
If you had one piece of wisdom to give somebody who was struggling with their studies, what would it be? What advice would you give to somebody who wants to want? How would you inspire somebody? What would you say to them?
Um, I always say this that for me, I don't give up on people.
Hmm.
Some people it takes a very long time for them to learn, or very long time when you teach them for them to pick it up. So I'll just encourage them to keep doing, keep learning always. They shouldn't give up. They should keep focusing. When you are focused on something and you keep on doing it, it gives you a success.
Mm.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So
Fantastic.
in
Yeah.
the we had one guy from Uganda. When he came here, the things that we were teaching him, he wasn't picking up. He wasn't picking up, and then he was slow to learn a lot of things.
Hmm.
So I was like, maybe we give him time. So we
Absolutely.
left him for like months, 2 months, 3 months. It got to a time that he became like a manager.
See,
Yeah,
I suppose that goes
he
right
was
back to the very beginning,
fantastic.
doesn't it, of this conversation, in
Yes.
terms of kind of getting to know what they need and helping them through it. So thank you, Gideon. That's really excellent.
Right. Well, Gideon,
Mhm.
I think you've inspired me actually.
Wow.
you know, um, yeah, no, definitely. Uh,
Yeah.
do make sure that yeah, what is your email address?
I can
If
I
Do
can
you
you
have
text
an
just put
you.
it in the
email?
message, yeah.
Yeah.
If you could put it in the message, I think we'd love to keep in contact with you.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can.
put
Type
it
it
in
in
the
the chat.
chat. Yeah,
Okay.
put it in the chat.
Okay. Uh, Gideon Say. Gideon Say at gmail.com.
Okay, yeah, just stick it in the chat there. I think we've got it. Yeah,
Okay, I'll try
that's
and then send
absolutely
my
brilliant.
Swedish numbers also.
Yeah, huh? Okay.
Copy, paste. Okay.
Well, actually, I've got another question. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Like I said,
Okay.
you know, we're definitely going to try to, stay in touch with you.
Okay.
Now, I have a very important question. All right.
Wow. Okay.
Now, what made you choose Teacher Talk Radio and come on the show? I mean, I think it's very courageous of you to say, "Oh, I'd like to sit in, I'd like to talk, I'd like to share my ideas with you." What made you do this?
Well, I love podcast. I mean,
Okay,
it's Podbean
okay,
podcast. Yeah, because I have some pastors that
uh
I
huh,
listen to. So I normally download their recordings and then normally I just listen to. So sometimes when I'm coming to listen to those messages,
mm-hmm.
I just go live and see um, the the live shows.
Ah,
I see
okay,
the live shows. So maybe when I see that maybe this is very educative or this is interesting,
mm-hmm.
I'll be like, okay, let me try this one. Let me just go inside and see what they are talking about.
Well, we're
Fantastic.
talking. Yes, thank you so much. But
Yeah.
it
So
really is. It is about.
initially, I had like 2 months ago, I have I joined some a program. I think they were talking on a debate or so something, and they were also very inspired when I pop in and I shared my ideas. They was like, "Wow, Gideon, wow."
You stole the show,
Well,
Gideon. Stole the show.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, Gideon, you have an open invitation to come and join me. Okay,
Wow.
Wednesdays on the Late Late Show at 9 p.m. Don't forget
Okay.
me. I'd love to hear some more of your ideas. It's
Okay.
particularly how you're getting on with your studies and so on. I think you are an expect. I did not expect to meet two inspiring people tonight. You know what?
Wow.
Really. So, I've got Jo Jamani, and she's an absolutely fabulous um, advocate for teaching, learning, and assessment. And I've
Wow.
met you, going on to do your master's degree. And I really do wish you all the best.
Thank
Guys,
you.
thank you so much. We were talking about bringing out the best in people, and I have to say it, the best people have come to the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Toby.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Gideon.
Nice
Nice
to
to
meet you
meet you,
too.
Gideon. Joe, thank you so much for being on the show.
My
Take
pleasure.
care, everybody. All right.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.